Welcome to Texting with the Frontline. In this training, we'll review how to text using our peer-to-peer texting tool, Spoke. We'll also cover how to access messages we get from voters as well as how to respond. It is important to remember that when we're texting, we are doing two things: sending messages back and forth to have quality conversations and also saving important data to use for later. In our previous video, we covered joining Slack and Spoke. Now let's talk about sending and replying texts in Spoke, our peer-to-peer texting tool. Look for an announcement from a staff member or volunteer with a link that looks like this in Slack. If you come to the channel after the link has been announced, you can find it by clicking the pin at the top of the Slack channel. Your next step is to send all of your initial messages. Your home screen on Spoke will look like this. You'll have some basic links that will help you find your way back to Slack along with other useful documents. And at the bottom, you're going to see a green button that says Start Texting. Click this to get your messages. Click the green send button to send your initial messages. You'll see the preloaded message, and all you have to do is click enter or the mouse or the trackpad to send it. You will need to click enter for each message, which won't take too long, I promise. It is necessary to send each one individually. This is why peer-to-peer messaging is legal. Okay, so now we need to respond to folks who write back. Once you've sent all your messages, you'll start to get those replies. The number of replies can be seen on the respond button in the orange circle with the number in it. Clicking that will take you to your replies. Once you start to reply, you'll also see buttons where you can access all your other replies, including past messages and skipped messages. Voters will generally write back with answers to your questions, telling you that you have reached the wrong number or asking to be removed from the list. Sometimes they'll respond with something else. You won't have to make up your own answers. We've got scripted, canned responses for this. Whenever we receive a response, we'll go through a mental checklist of the priority of responses. 1. Is the person asking to be removed from the texting list, opted out? 2. Is this an update to voter information like wrong number, cannot vote, or they're texting in another language? 3rd, is this an answer to our current campaign question or ask, like will you sign the pledge? And 4, is the contact asking a question or giving information to the first ask? For each bucket or category of reply from a voter, we as a texter have a corresponding action to take. This is also the order in which we respond to information provided by the voter. So when we receive a reply from a voter, we want to ask ourselves 4 questions. 1, does this include a request to opt out of texting? And if so, we must opt them out. Secondly, is this an update to voter information? Wrong number, cannot vote, replying in a different language, and covered in one of the tags. If so, we'll click a tag, save the tag, and find the corresponding canned response to send to the voter. 3rd, is this an answer to our current campaign question? If so, we'll use a survey response at the top of the list. Or is this a specific question? And in that case, we'll need to look a little harder in the canned responses to find something that fits, or use the help needed tag to get help from a staff member or volunteer. So we do opt out. We are ethically and legally required to remove folks from our list who ask to be removed. So you want to make sure that you're reading text messages carefully and check to see if the voter tells you to take them off the list by saying stop, don't text me, no more messages, or some iteration of this. We'll also opt out folks who are racist, threatening, or abusive. This is different from other groups that have texting programs, so please double check with their policies before beginning with them, but this is the protocol at the front line. On the other hand, we don't want to opt out anyone who doesn't ask, because that means we can never talk to them again. So we don't opt out wrong numbers, if someone informs us that they've moved, if they're trolling or using simple profanity, or people are just annoyed at us reaching out and texting them. There are canned responses for each of these scenarios, and if you're not sure, you can always ask. That help needed tag is there for you to use. Read the message and determine if it's an opt-out. And then after that, it's just 2 simple steps. In the lower corner of your screen, near the send button, look for a button that says opt out in red letters. Click the button, leave the standard message intact. This lets people know we're removing them from our list. Click the red button, opt out. A message will be sent and this contact will never be texted again. Our second task is to look for information the voter might be giving about their contact information. Most commonly, this will be telling us that we've reached a wrong number. So read the information carefully to see if they're giving us this kind of important information. There will usually be tags on the right side of Spoke to indicate what information we're looking for and what data we want to collect. In this case, the contact has told us we've reached the wrong number. So read the message and determine what information the voter is telling you. And on the right side of the screen, locate the relevant tag and click it. Make sure you click Saved Tags. Your next step is to respond to the voter. Click All Responses to open a drop-down menu of responses. Scroll down until you find the right response for the situation. In this case, it will be the wrong number response. Click that message. The message will show up in the text box. Click the green Send button. You've just responded to a voter. Each other response will be handled by the same way. Answering a voter's question happens in exactly the same way as updating voter information, except that there is no tagging required. So simply click All Responses to find the correct response and send. So here's an example of what that looks like. You're going to be navigating the responses and finding the right one to send off to a voter in response to what they've said. Sometimes voters are going to give you information you didn't ask for or ask you a question. In this case, you're going to want to scroll through the canned responses to see if something fits. So here someone said, I'm driving, sent from my car. So you're going to want to go through the canned responses and find the busy driving option or the busy general, depending on what they're saying. There's a couple of things here in which you can utilize to send to a voter. We've tried to set up a response for all common situations, but sometimes voters will share something or ask something that we don't already have a response for. So don't worry, you don't have to go it alone. On the right side of Spoke, click the Help Needed tag and click Save Tags. Keep your eye on Slack. A message will pop up with your name and the conversation, and a volunteer moderator will help you out there. They will start a thread with you to show you how to answer. They'll make sure to tag you so that you can follow along for the responses that they're suggesting. When I click on a thread, I can see a moderator suggestion on how to answer my voter. Now you know how to send and reply to messages on Spoke. Remember your priority of responses, and if you ever get stuck, ask on Slack. And if you need more help, click these links. You have the Spoke Guide and the Frontline FAQ that is available to you at all times. And just remember that we are a resource to you. Staff members and volunteers in Slack are here to help you have better and robust quality conversations with voters to build the movement that the Frontline is working on. Now, let's get out there and text. Thank you.